Folks, what is going on? How y'all doing on a Monday? A Monday, we haven't had a chance to do this in quite a while. We are actually celebrating a victory in our, and I got feedback coming in. Of course, that's not good. I can't believe this is the first time we've had an opportunity to have a Monday like this since last November. And I'm just excited to be able to sit down and talk about what is going on. Of course, you get down, you sit here, and you say to yourself, boy, oh boy, today ought to be interesting. We ought to come in the group and talk about this great victory and what we did as a group together and what the Falcons are going through and what I see on I'd say all of them, but 60 to 70% of the posts. We are talking about Justin Fields. Oh, man, this is your Uncle Steve here in Atlanta Bird Gang, also on Uncle Steve's Lounge on YouTube. Please subscribe if you get a chance to. But let's talk about this, man. This is supposed to be celebratory today, folks. This is what we talk about. These are the things when we were talking about in the summer. Hey, let's see how the Falcons start. Let's see if they can sneak a win in here and get some things started and get some momentum going into the year. And just like on cue is hard. It's hard because, I think and by no means am I trying to make light of this or whatever, but it's almost like a bad relationship where you may have been mentally hurt. And we're so used to coming up on this Monday after another loss and another loss and another loss and another loss and another loss. And now we finally win, and some of us don't even know how to celebrate right. And look, I know I'm happy we won. Are there things to be cleaned up? Absolutely. But you know whose fan base I don't want to be today? I don't want to be the New York Giants. The New York Giants folks are just unbelievable, man. I mean, they act like they played Mount Slippery Rock Presbyterian High School. They acted like they were so much better than us. As I look down the Twitter sphere and look on YouTube with all of the content creators for the Giants, I'm trying to tell you, they thought we were garbage. But we ended up pulling up our bootstraps, taking care of business in that last drive. Matty Ice giving us some flashbacks, folks. I'm trying to tell you, it looked awfully familiar. I'm not here to fool you. I'm just telling you, it looked familiar. And I'm glad we got a chance to check that out. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Say happy victory Monday. It is indeed. What's up, Kenzel? How are you, sir? Say, Steve, moving on to the next challenge. That's what we have to do. I mean, just like the losses we were talking about, now it's time to go on to this Washington team, who I'll tell you right now is going to face a bigger challenge. And after that demolishing they took from the Buffalo Bills, don't think that they're not ready to get us. They're going to take out that anger on somebody. And we happen to be the next ones in line. Jimmy, what's going on, sir? Say they tired of Matt. They can't celebrate small stuff. Yeah. And listen, I came on here yesterday and I, even said it yesterday and thanked Tidy and John for joining us yesterday and said there are plenty of things that still need to be cleaned up. But it's so much better to look at a film on after a win as opposed to after a loss. Folks, I am not going to sit here and play damper. We're not doing, anything. I don't play that. Ken says, finally got a win. Now we need more. Absolutely. Once you get a taste of this feeling, now it's time to get greedy. Now it's time. Now it's time to start forecasting. We still need to take one game at a time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to jump way ahead. But at the end of the day, when you play and you win a game, you start saying to yourself, okay, we pieced that together. Why not? Let's put a streak together. Let's get 2 in a row. Let's get 3 in a row. Let's see what we got. Lisa says, don't let the fieldies get you down. We have enough to worry about. We have to figure out what's going on with our offense, and Fields can't help us. Yeah, I don't. Trust me, none of that is bothering me. I guess it's just a matter of, wow, that's just amazing to me how the narrative changed. If you guys get a chance to check out my buddy Jeremy Cox, who is low-key one of just the funniest guys. I just love his stuff when he puts on, but he had a video today looking into the group, and you see his video. It's very funny. If you get a chance, check it out. But it is a true picture of what this fan base looks like. So that's really funny. At least this section of the fan base. Joy, what's going on? Say, I had to check my phone again to make sure we won. So I know it's real. I know, Joy, it's been a while, man. But you know what? I can get used to that. First win ever for Coach Arthur Smith. Congratulations to him. I don't think we did that properly yesterday. Look, folks, you got to start with one. Belichick had to start with one. Pete Carroll had to start with one. Lombardi had to start with one. You got to start with one down the line, and let's see what happens after that. John Everett said, we climbing this mountain. Name with Everett and climb this mountain. Very, very good there. Aaron, what's going on, Aaron? Aaron said, let's get Falcons. Let's get Falcons. I'm pretty sure you meant let's go Falcons. Put a good week of practice in. Let's get that W on Sunday. Absolutely, sir. That's what I'm looking for. I'll be there. Let's see what we can do. Lamar very sarcastically says, 1 and 2, ready to buy my playoff pick tickets. Well, of course, we're not trying to say we're playoff bound. But I'm telling you what, we've seen too many times that this team would fold in situations like that yesterday, and they did. So I am just happy that we ended up being on the right side of that thing this time. So I'm happy. We won. We could be 0-3 right now and going through the misery thing like we've been doing for the last few weeks and in the last weeks of the year. We're not doing that today, so we'll be good. Mr. John says, we got to play our game and not play down the weaker teams. Had good rhythm with the Bucks. Yeah, and I think, John, you're absolutely right. I think the beginning of the year, though, if you look around the league, it's kind of hard because until you get to late October, November, that's when you kind of see how teams are flowing. At the beginning of the year, it's so tough. Do you actually think Kansas City is that bad right now at 1 and 2? Do you actually think that New England is going to end? Well, I'm going to take New England out because New England actually is not playing that well. But even when Green Bay lost that first game, did you actually think Green Bay was that bad? Teams have to play a few games, and let's get used to the schedule, get used to what's going on before we just all of a sudden make projections out to the year. It's almost the same thing with college football. There are people right now that want Arkansas to be in the playoff. And I'm saying to myself, dude, they won 3 games this year, I think, or 4, whatever it is. They won 3 games. And yes, you beat a good Texas A&M team, but come on now. Let's hold tight. Beat Georgia. Get to November undefeated. Then come talk to me. Same thing in NFL. Right now, everybody's filling everybody out. I'm not gonna, kind of make this assumption that just because they beat, a couple of teams they weren't supposed to, now that they'll end the season like that. Arkansas hadn't been in this situation in a long time, probably since the Darren McFadden days. So I'd say hold tight before you start doing that. Lisa says, okay, look for Jeremy's video. Yeah, Jeremy's video is pretty funny. How you doing, Tiffany? Tiffany said we got the next 2 wins, Redskins, Jets, Miami. Whew. You know what, Tiffany? Let's take care of the Reds. I say Redskins, the Washington football team, being politically correct. The Washington football team is next. Let's take care of Washington first. We are not in any position to be overlooking any team at this point. We learned how to win. We didn't do that in preseason. We took 2 games. Now we've learned how to win. And you see good things. The defense was playing the New York Giants, but it's still good to see that for the most part, they played a pretty decent game. If you hold a team in the NFL to 14 points, there's a really good chance you should win. So I give the defense kudos for keeping us in that game and keeping the momentum going. That was actually pretty decent. Jimmy said, we honestly are still in the running for the division. We're in the running for everything right now. We're 1-2, 1-1 in the NFC, 0-1 in the NFC South. But, we still got 7 more games to play. So we still got a long way to go for the season. Again, enjoy this moment because tomorrow we have to start thinking about Washington and the challenges that we're going to have with that defense. And a Tyler Heineke, who is somebody that, again, one of those athletic quarterbacks I keep telling y'all about. Listen, Daniel Jones made some plays with his feet yesterday, too. We have to reel that in. If we don't have anybody accounting for a quarterback that can move like that, we're going to be in trouble. Tyler Heineke is probably going to take off a little bit more than Daniel Jones. And with their targets that they have in McLaren and Gibson in the backfield, Washington is ready. So let's not pretend like yesterday, hey, they got beat down. They took their beat down. That might be the only beat down they have this year. Now, the defense is kind of interesting because in that secondary, they're looking a little soft. So maybe if we can beef up that protection a little bit and give Matt just a little time, and we can get away from the dink dunk. And I understand why. We'll get into that in a second. Maybe we can make it 2 in a row against the NFC East. I'll take that all day. John said had the same questions when Shanahan first started. Absolutely. And Shanahan. And listen, not only Shanahan, John, people keep forgetting. Steve Sarkisian, as much junk as he took when he came in here and took over for Shanahan, that first year in 2017, that was miserable. That was probably the last time our defense played solidly during the year. And then all of a sudden in 2018 under Sarkisian, we were one of the top offenses in the league, except our defense was decimated and we couldn't stop anybody. Remember that? So again, you have to give time for those offenses to get some continuity, get to know each other. And those are the things that I think will lead to success. Anthony, what is going on? He says, Steve, I'll take the win, and the Washington game is winnable. Absolutely, it is. It must. Listen, if you want to truly sneak up on folks, I don't say sneak up on folks. If you truly want to contend, this is one of those games that you say, we got to show people. And it's at home. After that showing that you gave 2 weeks ago in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, every Atlanta Falcon to their person should be wanting to improve upon that because that was horrific. That was really bad. John says the ends need to learn how to contain. They need to do a lot more than that and get that. So I think we just are going to have to, you know, get this thing going a little bit. Gotta get it going. Tiffany said facts. Washington and Jets, but Miami is. Maybe you were replying to somebody. I apologize about that. I know one of the things that people were talking about yesterday was how we use why didn't Kyle Pitts get a lot of targets yesterday, and we didn't look at him a lot. Now, one of the things I do, and then we came on yesterday, I didn't have a chance to go back and look, but I always do it after the game. Just go back and check out either on Game Pass or DVR it, and start looking at some of the stuff from early. Kyle Pitts, they respected Kyle Pitts. That New York Giants defense, they honestly respected that young man. They acted like he was a star, and they played him like a star. And I think that's part of the reason why you couldn't get that ball into Kyle. I love the answer that Arthur Smith gave yesterday in the press conference when they asked him. The very first question they asked him was, why they didn't give Kyle Pitts any targets? And he said, the scheme dictates what they're going to do. New York Giants, gave respect to that young man. They said, hey, this is somebody that we have to take care of. Aside of Ridley, we got to look out to see what Pitts will do. They saw 2 games worth of his athleticism, the couple of times he got the ball, and his ability to catch. And they said, we need to make sure he doesn't sneak out and get us. And unfortunately, they missed one time at the very end in the fourth quarter when Kyle Pitts got him at the end for that long game to set up the game-winning field goal by Younghoe Koo. And that's that. I don't think the one thing that was probably on Matt's of that horrific throw into the end zone, which should have been caught by the guy from the Giants late in the fourth quarter. Aside of that throw, I think Matt just didn't want to force it. He saw what forcing did for him against Tampa Bay when they brought them on the brink of epic comeback against the defending Super Bowl champs. He forced a couple of balls that he shouldn't have. And I'm sure if you look at the glances between Matt and Arthur Smith, those aren't looks of endearment. Those are looks of, yeah, dude, you need to make sure you're throwing the ball where you need to throw it. Because I'm not here to baby you. We need to get this together. And maybe it's good. Maybe this is one of those relationships that Matt is going to have to look and say, you know what? You're the boss. I'm the employee, and I'm going to have to do what you say. So I agree. I think that's one of the things that you're going to have to respect about that relationship. Arthur Smith said he doesn't want him forcing in. Matt was like, I'm going to hold this ball. That's the only thing. And when we start talking about Matt played a clean game. When I say clean, and I'm not talking about throws that were awry, I'm not talking about almost interceptions, but by paper, he played a clean game. And those who didn't see the game will go and look at the stats and say 2 touchdowns, 200 yards, 111 passer rating, and say, Matt, great game. Matt's back. Just slow down on that. I still wish, and I know it can't happen, I wish we had 2009 legs on Matt, 2010 legs on Matt, where he can get out of those situations. One of the sacks he had yesterday, he ran into his tight end. He ran into the tight end, bumped into him, the defensive player got him. The other two, yeah, there was a sack in between there. But Matt, it worries me that he can't get out the pocket. It worries me that when everything is shut down, and it seemed like the Giants were focusing a lot on those receivers and making sure that they had the coverage, what happens then? When there is nothing out there, what happens then? It scares me that Matt doesn't throw the ball away instead of taking a sack or taking a loss. And it bothers me that Matt can't go get those 3-4 yards. I'm not talking about Lamar Jackson, a Mike Vick 2.0. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones gets out of the way and scrambles up the middle for about 4 or 5 yards and lives to see the next down. Those are the things that when we're critical of Matt, those are the things, not personal. It's saying those are the things that we need to really pay attention to. That's all. That's all I'm talking about. John says, got a good next 3 games to get better before we hit the hard schedule. And really, even when we hit that hard part of the schedule, John, it's not that hard. It's really not. When you really look at it. Are coaches and Matt not comfortable with his routes yet? Maybe not. And remember, it's not only Matt that's learning, it's Pitts that's learning. I saw some nonsense that said Pitts didn't know the playbook. And I'm saying to myself, yeah, folks, I don't care what you do. Those playbooks, I've seen a playbook. Those playbooks are not like 30-page paperbacks. That's a lot of plays that young man Pitts has to learn. It's a lot of plays when you're talking about Zacchaeus having to move from wide receiver 3 to wide receiver 2. There were things in this game where you had a lot of people that were doing things that they're not used to doing in real game time. So, yeah, do we need to clean it up and do we need to get more reps? Absolutely. But for yesterday, it ended up working out. John also says he forgets to throw the ball away when in trouble. And that's what scares me a little bit. And it scared me in the Tampa Bay game. And as a 14-year vet, one of the things I want you to do is don't make it harder on the team. If it's first down and somebody comes through on a blitz and you see it at the last second, instead of trying to just absolutely bowl over, see if you can throw the ball to the line of scrimmage and out of bounds. That's all you got to do. As long as the ball reaches the line of scrimmage, you're good. And just seeing some of those plays where we'll take the sack and it ends up going from 1st and 10 to 2nd and 16, instead of even, look, let me step up in the pocket and at least get 2 yards. And if I want to crumble under, I'll crumble under, but I won't lose that much ground. Those are the things I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Alan, how you doing? Say, watching that game, I said to myself numerous times that Daniel Jones was like Matt in his early days. Matt had PTSD in the pocket, easily flustered. But in fairness, Alan, after that first game, parts of that first game, I kind of don't blame him. He doesn't have the trust he needs in his offensive line right now. It will come. It's just not coming at the very beginning. Those guys have to gel. And as a veteran, I think, you might get impatient with those guys. And you're saying to yourself, Jonathan Vilma, as much as I don't want to give him credit for anything, Jonathan Vilma said it one of the times. He doesn't trust his line. And when you don't trust your line, that ball is you're going to hold tight a little bit. There were plenty of times yesterday that the offensive line gave him at least 4 seconds. At least 3 to 4 seconds. And with the NFL quarterback, if you have the right quarterback in that situation, somebody like Brady, somebody like Aaron Rodgers, somebody like who will let that ball go and trust the route, you'll do very well. And I think we're at a point where Matt just has a lot of young guys around him. He doesn't have number 11. Let's face it, that was his security blanket for almost 10 years, 14 years. And you don't have that anymore. You have Calvin Ridley, but yeah, is Calvin that guy? Is Calvin to throw it up and let him go get it guy? Not yet. I think that'll be Pitts. I think that's eventually going to be Pitts. But right now, Matt doesn't have, I don't think Matt has a lot of faith in these guys. Alan also says, let's not forget Matt had Pitts wide open on a tight end stick route in the end zone and almost gave the ball away by overthrowing him. Again, another case of you know, just trying to see what he is so scared right now, I think, from this offensive line, and maybe it'll take time for him to build some trust as far as that's concerned. What's going on, PJ? How you doing, sir? Does Atlanta Bird Gang have a tailgating spot? Not officially, even though we talked about trying to get that. Check with me and inbox me a little bit, and I'll try to give you some more information on that. That would be something interesting. I know we talked about it at one time, but we don't officially have one. But if somebody in the Bird Game wants to chime in and give PJ a spot to go to, please come in. Derek said it's like he reverted back to a rookie. He sees the rush coming, and he's like a deer in the headlights. He's like one read quarterback now. That may be the thing to do for the O-line. Yeah, Derek, it's clear to me that he is not trusting his line. He's not. He doesn't have belief in his line. Our guy 77 that they've been dogging out for the last couple of weeks, he did better. He's not great. He's not going to be great. He's still playing out of position, y'all. We're still waiting for our guy to come off injured reserve, guy who broke his hand. So Mayfield, it's gonna be a little bit of a challenge, and it scares me about games like this because you're probably playing one of the best front sevens you're going to play all year until maybe you get to Buffalo. This is one of the tough front sevens, so they have their challenges in front of them. And if you don't think for 1 minute that Chase Young, Montez Sweat, and the rest of those guys aren't ready to inflict damage on the Atlanta Falcons after what they went through with Buffalo. Buffalo embarrassed them yesterday. That defense let up 43 points, and I say the defense, but I don't know if Buffalo scored a defensive touchdown. They probably did, but they gave away too many points. And Tyler Heineke, as nice of a story as he is, as good as feel-good story as it was last year, he probably came the closest to beating Tom Brady last year in the playoffs. As much as he did that, I don't think I don't think he's that guy. I don't. Hopefully we'll have something, offensively that we can do to throw this defense off. Those guys are going to come. Those guys are going to come, and it's going to be strong, and we're gonna have our hands full. I'm not scared of the secondary. Secondary doesn't scare me at all. Secondary, there's nobody on the secondary that really scares me for Washington. But their front seven, those boys are tough. Those guys are really tough. So listen, Washington now is 1-2. Falcons are 1-2. The Jets are 0-3. Miami is 1-2. So, as you all are saying, as Tiffany says, as other folks are saying, this schedule is right there for the taking. Now we have to take advantage of it. We've got to. And let's see what we're gonna do. Let's see what happens next week. What's up, CP? Jake better be ready on his Sunday. I think that's where the game will be lost or won. Yeah, the trenches are definitely going to be where we are gonna make our bread, man. And if we don't have a real semblance of a running game, it's going to be that much more agonizing for us. Trust me. This is one of those games that, look, if you win this game against Washington and you can mess around and fly overseas and get the Jets, I mean, it's a much better feeling than last year in the first 5 games, but I don't want to jump too far. Let's see if the Falcons can put something together for this game. PJ said the Chiefs are 1-2 as well, and I'm telling you, man. Listen, as good as Patrick Mahomes is, and let's not try to pretend now that he's not good. I heard people talking about, oh, he's overrated, he's whatever. You know what? I'll take his overrated in the 2 years he had, winning the MVP and the Super Bowl back to back, and I'll take that all day. Right now, I guess I don't know what it is. I think it's hard to say. That defense, which was actually not bad 2 years ago, is really looking bad now. Those guys are not playing. You can have every offensive weapon you want. And then I heard today that they're signing Josh Gordon to come on the team. So you can have all the offense in the world, but this just goes to show you that got to have some defense in there too, y'all. You got to have some defense. Rick, how you doing, sir? Say ATL need to get their backup quarterback ready. Matt will be pressured this week. And you know what, Rick? That's real talk. That's real talk. I'm telling you, these cats are going to be angry. I'm glad we're not playing them in Washington. We don't even need to give them anything to feed off of in our stadium. Lord knows, there are going to be some Washington fans in there. But we don't need to let them have the stadium like we did with Philadelphia. But you're absolutely right, Rick. And as long as we come up with plays unlike that play they have with Felipe Franks when you're trying to get a yard, come on, y'all. I know I know what he's doing. I mean, I know what he's trying to do. But boy, that looked pretty bad. And I hate it because it almost looked bad for Felipe too. I like the story of Felipe being the undrafted free agent and actually on the roster this week. I posted something on Sunday when I noticed they came out with the inactives. And I saw Felipe Franks wasn't on it. And I'm trying to tell you folks, I'm not trying to read deep into anything, and it has zero to do with Matt Ryan. I think in a lot of ways, Arthur Smith wants Felipe to get grasp of this situation more than Josh Rosen. I'm almost positive if Felipe Franks can grow and immerse himself into that playbook and be able to be not Taysom Hill, but be somebody that you can put in the game and make a play or two. See what San Francisco did yesterday with Trey Lance. Jimmy Garoppolo was running that offense, and he did a decent job. But to have Trey Lance in there to be able to run that ball around the corner and get that touchdown, those are the things that we talk about. Those are the things when we start talking about integrating things in to move forward. It's not kicking Matt out of the house yet. Maybe telling him to call a realtor, but it's not telling him he's got to go right now. Rick said that play was too obvious. Dude, I always talk about it, but I got to give my son credit. And being 16 is different than being 10. But he's a football guy, probably more football guy than I was at 16. And he was sitting there like, what is this? What is that? And just, yeah, crazy. CP says, hopefully we won't get an overdose of swing passes and crossing routes Sunday like we did in New York. I also don't think Davis is the guy at running back. And it's a fair question. And let me make sure that I'm giving him credit where credit is due before I even say this, because I don't want anybody to get it twisted and think that I am being overly critical of Mike Davis. Mike Davis yesterday gave us 9 carries and he gave us 38 yards on 4.2 average. Now, before we absolutely criticize Mike Davis completely, Mike Davis has kind of been on that 4.0 average for the year, if you think about it. I'm trying to pull it up because I don't want to misspeak on his year right now. But Mike Davis this year has 36 attempts, 137 yards, 3.8 yard average. Now, you want that to be 4.0, but 3.8. Tell me what Todd Gurley's was last year. I know it wasn't 3.8. We want more. And Mike Davis's yards aren't going to look flashy as Patterson's is. Mike Davis is not the swing out guy to catch the pass, even though he did a good job when he got a couple of those passes yesterday, keeping it real. One of those plays, he came bull rush somebody over. I'm not ready to throw Mike Davis out to pasture yet. And the reason why is, folks, we didn't invest a lot in Mike Davis. Mike Davis is not here to be this big-time guy. Dre, what's going on? He said Washington's quarterback is trash. Steve AJ will eat that game if he is healthy. Mustafa said trash bottom line. Yeah, don't talk too hard now, Raiders guy. You know good and well what are you talking about. Blank should sell the team to a football. Ha ha ha. Blank should sell the team to a football person. Really makes no sense. Again, trolls are cool, but at the same time, keep it real. The Raiders. I'm putting my buddy Mustafa on blast here because I know he comes and trolls the Falcons, and we deserve. Let me make it clear: we probably deserve to be trolled. When you have the last few years like we've had, it's not like we need to be celebrating anything. So in some ways, he's right. Stop waiting to the fourth quarter to throw Pitts the ball. Well, first, I know you didn't watch the game probably. But go back and watch the game and see the coverage that they had on him. He definitely was not sitting there wide open the whole game. The Giants decided to bring pressure at the end on that last drive. And on both accounts, even when Cordero did his swing play out to the outside, and then when Pitts caught his ball when he was basically wide open, they were trying to bring pressure. So make sure you watch it now before you make a blatant statement. What's going on, Glenn? How you doing, sir? How you feeling, man? Daniel, what's going on? Say, rise up. I'm happy about the win. Matt whipped out the ice in his mind and in his ice in his veins. I'm sorry, and drove us down for the wins like old times, man. I mean, hopefully we need it more. Mustafa said, "I love it. It's football season. I was on the edge." Yeah, I know that Raiders. Miami game was pretty tough because I know you were sweating at the end of that game. I was sitting there watching it, and that was pretty jacked up there. They almost blew, but they did. They won. So give the Raiders credit. Raiders are rolling. Rick, we don't have a type of blocking line for no running backs. Yeah, that's true too. I mean, that's true, but we have been getting some semblance of a run game. Again, at this point, I'm not worried about 6, 7, 8 yard gashes. I'm worried about keeping that pass rush at bay. If we go back to the Falcons of 20, 19, 18, everybody knows we're going to pass the ball. So if everybody knows you're going to pass the ball, all they're going to do is just rear up, get their one hand down into the dirt, and just come get them. So the running game doesn't need to be this spectacular, college-esque 8 yards to carry thing. You just need enough to keep the defense honest and have the defense. And look, a lot of times teams now, especially with the Falcons, knowing that their running game isn't that great, they go into cover 2. You have to make them pay and make them bring those safeties up. If you don't make them bring the safeties up and you keep trying those passes like they were doing yesterday, Matt, 36 attempts, that's borderline. That's about what you want. 30 attempts there, about 20-something attempts on the ground. That's about right. Unless you have somebody like Derrick Henry who can change the whole flow of the game with his attempts. I mean, that's what you want. You want that balance. You really do. What's going on, Dave? How you doing, sir? Say Mike Davis runs hard. I like this backfield. And Mike Davis does. And listen, Mike Davis wasn't brought here on this 6-year, $40, $50 million contract, folks. It's like we want this Dollar Tree bargain to end up being Derrick Henry just because Arthur Smith coached him. So all of a sudden you think Arthur Smith gets here and Mike Davis is going to turn into Derrick Henry. That's not what it was. Davis came here on a 2-year contract, $5 million. He wasn't paid to be a savior. He's paid to bridge the gap until we get that next dynamic running back. That's my opinion. And so for what he is expected to do, I'm not going to throw Mike Davis under the bridge. Not yet. Not yet. I think he's given us pretty much what is expected. The surprise has been Patterson. Patterson has been a welcome addition. What's going on, Damon? How you doing, sir? I will say I'm happy for our win. I saw a lot from this game and the fight our team has. And as we saw in the fourth quarter, we made adjustments. I'm just seeing some of the upside with this win. I see our defense coming in their own. Our offense just needs to play with that same intensity. If we take this win into this weekend, I see another big win. And I see us at least going into our bye 5-2, 4-3, where we get an early bye this week. I mean, this year, Damon. So I think our bye is after week 5 because of the England game. So I hear exactly what you're saying, and awesome. You're absolutely right. There are a lot of things from the Tampa Bay game, not how it ended. There are a lot of good things to take from the Tampa Bay game and some good things to take from the Giants game. And the growth of this young team, now you know how to win. Now you know how to come back. So let's take everything that you've learned and let's project that out for the next game. Let's improve the defense even more. Yeah, we did a good job. 14 points in the NFL, dude. Yeah, that's great. You don't hold teams normally to less than 10. That's not usual. The average team probably scores 20 points a game. You held them to 14. And that was a good job. They left some points out there. Now, and let me tell you, before we go any further, Dante Fowler. Hey, hello. 2 sacks, 3 games, 2 fumbles, 3. Hey, I'm about to take everything I said back. But good for him. Good for him for realizing that it's time for him to step up now and be a leader on this team. Grady actually played a decent game. And I know a lot of people go see that one play where Daniel kind of lowered that shoulder in. And I know they were trying to make excuses. That was a bad looking play for Grady. But Grady played a good game. And listen, in relief of A.J. Terrell, listen, give T.J. Green a hand. Because he didn't get smoked. He didn't get baptized. It's not like Daniel Jones threw for 400 yards. They did a decent job. So I like where this defense is coming, where they're going. Dean Pease, so far so good, brother. Let's keep it going, keep the momentum rolling, and let's see what we got. Dave said part of this fan base is still fixated on throwing the ball. Balance is what this team is morphing into, and some fans don't like that. But you know what, Dave? Winning will make you change your mind. Do you think for 1 minute in Tennessee that they are worried about whether they are throwing the ball deep and doing it when they win? When they win, of course, they lost before. But when they win games, do you think they care what people say? As long as you win, man, nobody cares. I don't. Dre said, Steve, yesterday was great. Braves, Falcons finally win on the same night. Yeah, congratulations to the Braves. They have to take care of business these next 3 days. I do not want to go into the weekend against a Mets team that doesn't like you and have them have a say in whether you make the playoffs. Good point. New culture is being established, and it starts with FBIQ and toughness. Yes, sir. Abel, how you doing? Say, it looks like Pease is putting players in the right spot like Oliver. Hey, another hand clap. Isaiah Oliver. Strip. I like it. It's taken 4 years, but I like it. Oh, man. Oh, Lynn, how are you? Hey, Steve, I'm happy to have Victory Monday rising up. Lynn, great to have you here. I know it's been a while since we celebrated this, but yes, it feels much better to talk about a winning team as opposed to what we've been talking about before. So you're absolutely right. My brother Brandon, how are you, sir? Say Marlon and Isaiah are bright spots on that defense. Marlon got hurt yesterday. I think he came back in though. So Marlon has been showing up on the defense. Foye looks like an all-pro, and I said it yesterday, Brandon, and I know you probably didn't see. Going into this offseason, folks, and I'm not even sure you wait until the offseason. Folks, it's one person on this team. I know we keep talking about the Grady extension, and we keep talking about things like that, folks. Man, if y'all let 54 get out of this place, he is going to go somewhere else and shine, and we are going to regret it. I know we are strapped. I know we don't have anything, but I'm just telling y'all right now. That if we have to put up a GoFundMe for and make just rich people give money, and rich people means more money than I make. So, but Foye has to be part of this future. Even more than Debo. I said it. Debo is nice. Foye is real good, y'all. And he has developed well. How many times do you find those guys, kind of like Grady did? He has developed well. He'll be making those 100 top player lists if the Falcons' success follow him. But he is no joke. No joke. Rick says Patterson has been great, but he is doing too much. Punt returns, kickoff team, running back at the rate he's playing. It's a lot for a player 10 seasons in the NFL. That's actually a very good point. I know they have Williams returning the punts, but yeah, we do need to get somebody else to do those kickoffs. I know he'll go out there and tell the coach, I'll do whatever I can. And maybe that's so he can get his touches and stay in the game. I don't think you're ever going to get a player to say, I don't want in on that. Hopefully, as he gets more integrated into this offense, and I'm pretty sure Arthur Smith isn't stupid, he realizes that he is a very important part, as I'm sure many NFL fantasy team owners have realized in the last week or two, that having Patterson on your team helps. That's a very good point. Brandon says, GoFundMe for Fourier. Rick, 54 is the truth, but what the hell is 45 doing? 45 went in there and almost got in on one side. I give him credit. I'm not telling you Deion Jones is done. I'm not telling you Deion Jones is less than average. I am telling you that you paid Deion Jones quite a bit of money. And I think he's still a solid linebacker in this game. I know a lot of people thought he might have been playing out of position in the middle, and I don't think he plays in the middle anymore. But I think for the most part, when you think about it, just overall over the last 2 seasons, Fourier has been the better linebacker than Dion. Dion can run to the cows come home. He's fast. He's quick. I see Dion miss a lot of tackles, though. Usually don't see Fourier once he gets your hands on him. Usually don't see him miss a lot. He might miss a couple. I don't want to sit here and act like I don't see all of them, but, maybe so. Alan Davis says, agree. What's going on, Alan? Brandon says, shout out to Big Mayfield, looking better every week. And I know on paper they say he allowed one sack. I'm trying to tell you, out of the 3 sacks I saw yesterday, folks, I'm sorry. Y'all gonna get on me. I think Matt is not helping his situation in a couple of those times. A couple of those times, I just need him to either step up into the pocket, or I need him to say there is somebody with the opponent's uniform close to my face with nobody open and throw the ball out of bounds. I don't care about your accuracy percentage. Throw the ball out of bounds, live to see another down. That's one of the things that that's one of the things. Daniel says Raiders fans shouldn't talk too much. They haven't been relevant in the last couple of years. I didn't say it that time. That's somebody else jumping on you, man. Gregory, what's going on, man? Says it feels good to be speaking from the W side of the field. It has been a while. Absolutely, it has. Daniel also says, if we draft a running back, I want the back from BYU. That cat is different. I see a similar style game against Washington. Yeah, we're definitely going to get into draft stuff later in the year. I'm hoping we're not in position where we're drafting in the top 5 again, but who knows? Brandon says, I think that's Brandon. Yeah, Brandon says, Matt not helping Steve, throw the ball away. And that's my only thing. Brandon, if we were talking about the quarterback in Chicago or Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson, or shoot, I'll even go one step further. The guy we just saw yesterday in Daniel Jones. Guys who haven't been in the league a long time, even though Daniel Jones' excuses are getting short, because I think this is year 4. Veterans know when to throw it away. I see Brady do it all the time. Brady throws the ball away. Breeze used to throw the ball away. Those cats know that you live to see another down unless the pass rush just gets so much on you. But what I'm seeing is with Matt, and if y'all seeing it different, tell me, because I don't want to act like I'm the aficionado on somebody 300 plus pounds coming at you during a game and act like he's what he's supposed to do. But if you're seeing what I'm seeing, I see a pocket for about 3 seconds, which in NFL terms is a lifetime. I see a pocket for 3 seconds. By the time the pocket gets a little closer, I usually see, unless somebody's running a stun up the middle, I usually see a little bit of daylight in the front. But I also see Matt just sometimes he seemed like he's deciding to say, well, instead of an interception, let me just, fall down. And I know he's not all the time. I'm not trying to act like he's not a tough cat. You missed 3 starts in 14 years. You're a tough dude. But as a veteran that long, I just need those decisions to be a little bit more crisp on saving yourself until the next down. If it's 1st and 10 and you're taking a sack for 6 yards, that's 2nd and 16. If you're throwing it away, it's 2nd and 10. Do the math. It's not hard. It's not hard. Dre says Dion had 3 good plays. Saints, Raiders, and Tampa Bay. Now, Dion did most of his work early when he got here. Dion did a lot of his good work Super Bowl year, without a doubt. Dion might have about 4 pick sixes. So it's not like Deion is trash. And I don't want that to be the narrative. Deion is actually pretty good sometimes. He's just not as consistent as Fourier right now. And that's all I'm saying. For the money that we're playing, the money that you're paying him, I would like to see that improve. Brandon says we need a running back. Yeah, and that's one of those deals where right now, who's really out there? I'm sure there are guys out there, but who is it that's going to fit this scheme right now? I don't want this to get twisted. Listen to me again. 4 yards to carry for a running back is not bad. We need to improve that. We need to improve that and get a little better. But 4 yards is not absolutely garbage. CPS said, as a 14-year vet, Matt still does some real head-scratching stuff. And that's the thing. Listen, the big storyline yesterday in the NFL, all rookie quarterbacks struggle. 3 games into their career, all of them are garbage. Matt Jones is horrible. Trey Lance is still on the bench. Justin Fields can't throw a pass. Trevor Lawrence throws interceptions. Zach Wilson is just horrific. Boy, I mean, really? 3 games in. 3 games. And we are acting like these cats can't get any time. Dude, you got to give these folks time. And I'm saying that for those teams, but dude, you got to give those guys an opportunity to grow. You can't give the report card on any of those guys drafted this year until 2000, maybe 23. Maybe. You can't judge them on 2021, y'all. If you do, you're really going to be fooling yourself. Says the kids played huge. Dre says Gurley as far as running backs concerned. Yeah, I almost get the feeling Todd Gurley might be done. Those knees might not. I think last year he thought a change of scenery might make it good, but I think Gurley is done. And I think with every medical look, you have heard absolutely nothing about Todd Gurley this year. You haven't heard him rumored to another team. You haven't rumored him talking about he's working out. You haven't heard anything. I think the next place you see Todd Gurley is on somebody's pre or post game show. I think his career is over with. And good when he was good, but I think he's done. Rick says Deion just put himself out of play most of the games. Brandon said, is Deion playing out of position? And I think he was. I know at one time, I know the first game, I could have sworn Fourier started in the middle, but they were playing 3-4 at the very beginning. So I think Deion is still one of those guys that's just better on the outside. I don't think he's a Mike linebacker, but I don't run Dean Pease's offense, so I honestly don't know. What's going on, Armani? How you doing, sir? I'm glad. I know you're glad about that win yesterday. Rick says, I agree, college is different than NFL nowadays. And the thing is, Rick, the difference too, now in college, you just get the best athlete and teach them how to play quarterback. That's what you do. Now they even have the category for it. Now they call them athletes. They don't even, some guys, they don't even put a position on. They just say athletes and throw them out there and see what they can do. And that's what you have more of in college. So when you get those guys that coaches in college say, you know, they might come back and tell you, yeah, he might not know a pro-style offense, but for us, he was the best athlete on the field. So we gave him the ball and he had the ball in his hand every time. It will take a while for these guys, even Trevor Lawrence. It will take a while for these guys to learn how to play NFL football. Some of them might pick it up before the end of the year. So, yes, I see the stats. I see the talk. Who's doing good and who's not doing good. I know it's more not doing good than anything. What did we expect? Did we actually think Jacksonville was going to start 3-0? Did we actually think the Bears were going to be a 13-4 season? Did we think that Zach Wilson was going to turn the New York Jets around? Matt Jones was the only person that I said to myself, because of Bill Belichick and because of what he did, what he does with a lot of no-name people and putting them in the right positions, him and Josh McDaniel, he was the only person I thought that might be set up more for success. And we still don't know. He's 3 years into his NFL career. We don't know. He wasn't doing any worse than Cam Newton was doing last year. And Cam was a 10-year vet. So, give him a shot. Amanda says, glad, yes, but not impressed by the bit. And, of course, the Justin Fields bash and Matt Ryan comparison. Did y'all see Fields stick up the place, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes you have to kind of just keep it moving. Some of them cats. Some of those folks that post stuff like that, they want you to respond. They want you to take the bait. I don't take debate. We hadn't taken debate that much. Had somebody think just because a team draft a quarterback, that automatically makes them a franchise quarterback. And also, Armani, what you have to remember is two situations, man. If you get drafted in Atlanta, and we talked about it several times, if you draft any of those quarterbacks in Atlanta, Matt Ryan wasn't going to be on the bench. Matt Ryan was going to start. So you knew you had an opportunity to learn a little bit more instead of putting you on the field. Now, the situation in Chicago maybe didn't work as well now with Andy Dalton getting hurt. So he was pressed into play a little bit earlier, but he'll learn. He'll be fine. The narrative, another Ohio State quarterback. I just don't play into that. It's tiresome, it's boring, it's lazy. Some of that mess is just hard. Hey, Coach, what's going on, man? Said Matt Jones goes back to Sark. Sark, remember him? Absolutely. And I was just talking about him, Coach, maybe about probably about not an hour ago, about 30 or 40 minutes ago, and how people were ready to throw Sarkisian under the bus in 2017 when he took over for Kyle, and then forget that after a year of learning what Sark was trying to do, Matt Ryan probably had his best offensive output the next year. So Brandon says if a team takes a quarterback, especially in the first 5 rounds, first 5 picks, I apologize, he is a franchise. First round quarterback is the most valuable thing in all of pro sports. Brandon, I know you've been, I know we talk about that. You probably heard me say that too. Quarterback is the most important position in North American sports. It is. So that's why when this April was here, and I was suggesting that you draft a quarterback, it has zero to do personally with anybody in the other positions, because you want to set yourself up to transition smoothly. If you let Matt Ryan stay here in this franchise until his arm literally falls off and don't have a plan B in place, you're going to struggle for the next few years. So when the suggestion was made to draft a quarterback, by the time I was talking about, I didn't even care if it was second or third round. You still want to start that succession plan so that whoever comes in here next will have a foundation to start on. Aaron Rodgers didn't see the field first couple of years. Tom Brady didn't see the field until Drew got hurt. Lamar Jackson didn't see the field the first few games. It happens, but the situation will dictate, how these quarterbacks will be used. In Jacksonville, it was no doubt that Trevor Lawrence was going to start. I believe what Brandon says. He's top 5. Your thought level is he's going to start. San Francisco has a very unique situation because Jimmy Garoppolo, listen, before the pandemic season, Jimmy Garoppolo was coming off of a Super Bowl and dang near won. But Kyle Shanahan is saying, you know what? Maybe that might not be enough. Let me get somebody else in here to see what happens. And if Jimmy happens to blow the roof off the place and you got Trey Lance, guess what? You got some trade capital. Somebody will use Trey Lance. That's just my opinion. I'm sorry, I'm ignoring my other side over here. Steven, what's going on, man? Steven just says Dean moved Jones to Will. And I thought that's where he started at the beginning of the year when we were at Philly. I thought that's where he came off. Daniel also says Phil was sacked 9 times. You get more looks as an athlete instead of being put in a position on a scouting report when it comes to recruiting. Sark is the head coach of Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he is. He is, but let me tell you something. I don't care how much money, how much prestige you get, even though Texas could be one of those jobs. In college, they're probably about 4. Alabama, obviously. Notre Dame. Texas. I'm kind of shaking my head about USC because USC used to be a very coveted job. But there are only about 3 or 4 places in college that it looked like maybe the holy grail. And Sark is at one of them. Texas is a very coveted job. They haven't been successful lately, but it's definitely one of those jobs that a lot of people look at as, ooh, that's a dream job right there. Not a Jim Moore University of Washington dream job, but something like that. Brother Arlen, how you doing, sir? Says, I'm not too high on any of the quarterbacks coming out for the draft 2022. We missed out on the quarterbacks last draft. Is there a quarterback you're high on? That's why I think they're going offensive line and defensive. Here's the one thing about it, Arlen, and I'll be brutally honest with you. Aside of Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields and Trey Lance, even though Matt Jones was at Alabama, I didn't have any thought of him being a top quarterback. I didn't have any thought about Zach Wilson at BYU. I didn't know. I knew Kellen Mond at Texas A&M. I thought he probably went right around where I thought he went. But you didn't know about those guys until after the year went on. And what also happens, Arlen, is once you get those guys past the college season, and then they go into the off season where they do I know they haven't been doing the combines like they normally do, but they do those pro days and things like that, and they get those measurables. You'll be surprised. The measurables on guys, the high jump, the 40-yard dash, things that take you from a 3rd round pick to a 2nd or 1st round pick. That stuff hasn't happened. So when you say that you're not high on any quarterbacks right now, and remember, these are guys that could still be growing. Some of those guys grow an inch at 19, at 20. Some of them do. Most of them don't. Some of them get more athletic from their sophomore year to their junior year. Some of them develop a better sense of the game. The game slows down for them. So these quarterbacks that are coming out, nobody is really. I know everybody's going to talk about the guy from Louisville and the guy from Liberty and stuff like that. But there's nothing about them that, aside of athleticism, there's nothing about them that makes me so I got to have them. But that being said, that also doesn't mean that our coach might go and look at that skill set and says, I can do something with that. The mere fact that Felipe Franks is still on this roster lets you know that Arthur Smith says, I see something in him that I would like to develop. I'm going to tuck him away on the practice squad. And even this week, activated him to see what he could do on the field. I thought that was interesting. So it kind of depends on what the coach wants to. Brandon says, what this shows is quarterbacks don't make a team. They complement what you have. Yeah, it's never all about the quarterback. Never all about him. But you are the most polarizing player in North American sports. And I'm sorry, with success comes the glory, and with failure comes the critiques. And that's why when we start talking about what quarterbacks are doing now I'm hearing after this game, Big Ben should be done. Before the season, everybody was talking Big Ben loading up for another year. He loses one game. Now all of a sudden he should be done. The same stuff we talk about with Matt Ryan. And it's not personal with these guys. It's just one of those things where you say, when you start to lose and that losing stench gets attached to you, that smell, that aroma, that, then you're going to unfortunately be known as that guy who can't get the job done. Nobody looks at stat. Anybody could care less about 9 years of 4,000 yards passing. Nobody cares about that. Know what they care about? Care about you making the playoffs. And I don't care what kind of offensive line, defensive line, cornerbacks, whatever. The quarterback is the only player that gets his record put at the beginning of the game. Yesterday, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is 43-12 when this. They don't say that about the defensive lineman that plays that game. They don't say that about Devontae Adams and he does with that game. It comes with the territory. So when we talk about that as a quarterback, it's extremely unfair to throw the whole load of failure on Matt Ryan. Is absolutely unfair. But it's accepted. And it's also accepted when the quarterback has the highest per year salary of any other player in the NFL. Dak Prescott. Is Dak Prescott really? Is he really the highest paid player? Is he worth being the highest paid player in the NFL? For real. For real. Come on, man. I think they paid Patrick Mahomes too early. I think he should have waited another year. As great as Patrick Mahomes has been his first couple of years, I still think you should have waited a year to pay him. And I know his extension was coming. I think you went too far. I think 10 years was way too far. And I know they have options in there where you can do things with a contract. I know they have fail safes in there where he can get out of the contract, where the team can get out of the contract. But quarterbacks get paid a lot, and they get paid for that blame. They get paid when they have post-game interviews. They do the coach, and then the next person they bring in is who? The punter? Who the punter did good yesterday, too, speaking of punter. Who's the next person they bring in there? They bring in the safety? Did they bring in the fullback? They bring in the quarterback. That's why we're hard on Matt. That's why Matt, no matter what else goes on the team, will always get criticized. Ask Dan Marino how that felt. Ask John Elway before Terrell Davis got there. Ask him how that felt when you get all the blame, but you still get the accolades when you are successful. That just comes with the territory, y'all. Comes with the territory. They'll be all right. Dre says FSU as far as a dream job. Bobby Bowden was there so long. Rest in peace, Bobby. But I don't think that qualifies. Not FSU, and especially now. Brandon says Texas is a dream job. Absolutely, I agree. Brandon says, I need Kevin Thompson to take that FSU job. Look, Coach, if Coach is on here, you probably should, man. They got problems at FSU. Jeez. Man, I know the number one quarterback is supposed to be coming in next year as of this second. But the way some of these young guys are now, they have options now. Them cats might come out of that commitment. I mean, whew. Armada says all it takes is one game against a ranked opponent to jump rounds. True. Brandon says Ryan is too old and too expensive. Time to move on. Dre says Tua at Maryland is balling, and Armstrong at Virginia leads the country in passing. I'm not going with any more. You're talking about Tua's brother. I'm not going with any. Nah. Dre says we going into the Washington game. We have beat them 6 or 7 meetings. It doesn't mean anything in 2021. Andre, what's going on, man? How you doing, brother? Say here late up, but do you think the problems we have are because of Ryan or because of play calling? That's a good question. And I know the sellout question would be both. I think some of the plays we have called are just not being executed properly. But I also do think Matt Ryan, at this stage of his career now, may not be able to do those things that Arthur Smith wants him to do. Folks, Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot were put in a horrible situation. We inherited probably a job a lot of folks didn't want. And now that we hear about the Julio rumors, people probably knew about that too. And what they inherited was a very top-loaded salary team that didn't have a lot of depth, need to shed some money, and with a guy who can put up the perennial 4,000 yard stuff, but truly hasn't taken us to that next level. Quarterbacks take you to the next level. And it's not trying to make this about Matt. We've had way too much of that lately. But until we shed this salary and until we improve and get younger on this team, anything we get out of this year is a bonus. And I'm rooting for the bonus. Trust me, I'm going to be here for the bonus. But anything we get out of this, man, I think is a bonus. So anyway, going back to your question, Andre, yeah, I think I'm going to sell out. It's a little bit of both. In my opinion, I think it's a little bit more Matt, though. That's just me. What's going on, Fred? How you doing? Dre said, I've been applying for the Texas University job. Hey, brother, they could probably get some. Look, do your thing. Arlen comes back and says, do you think Arthur Smith is going to have the same problem as Quinn, being a better coordinator than a head coach? I know it's early, but I thought I was going to see better play calling from him. You know what bothers me, Arlen? Bill Belichick, not Bill Belichick, scratch. I don't like when coaches call the game. Head coaches. I think if Dave Ragone is here to be the offensive coordinator, I think the offensive coordinator should call the game. Now, if you as a head coach, if your specialty is offense, then have the ability to come in and quickly decide whether you want to nix the play or not. But I'm not a fan of head coaches calling the game. I know Andy Reid did it for a long time. I'm just not a huge fan of it. And that had nothing to do. And even when Dan Quinn talked about taking over the defensive responsibilities the year after he had to clean house from everybody, I thought that was ridiculous. I thought that was ridiculous because if you couldn't take care of your house as the head coach, what makes me have faith that you're going to be able to take care of it as a coordinator and a head coach? So that bothers me. I hope that answered your question, but it's too early right now. Give me a season's worth because I think Arthur Smith will be here next year. I know he'll be here next year, but I've got to see how this year plays out before I make a full assessment of what he does. We only have a small samples worth. And it's hard to take that small sample and extrapolate it out until the rest of the year. Let's see how he does. It might be fair to do it in December. Way too early. We're not even out of September yet. We're 3 games in. Armani says, I'm going to just say, y'all know why the play calling is what it is. I know what Armani's going to say. And that's for sure. I know how you're going to say that. Gregory says, not great breakdown on Matt Ryan. Yeah, thanks, Greg. I appreciate that. Yeah, I listen. Too many times we get in here and we try to be personal. And look, I respect the mess out of Matt Ryan. And I respect the mess out of what he's done for this franchise, what he's done for this city, how I know this is personal, so I'm not trying to go into this realm and stuff like that. I liked a lot of when the social justice stuff was coming out last year, and Matt was front and center and came right out and put his money where his mouth was and did some things. And to me, that's a leader. That's a leader off the field. And as far as his play on the field, I will always have Matt Ryan's. I will always have his back if he's leading my team. But I'm also, if I were in a room with Matt Ryan right now, and I was being his, I don't know, a truth serum person talking to him, I tell him, I say, hey, bro, do all you can do to make 2021 the best you can, because I don't think you need to be here next year in order for this team to go to a next level. Part of the reason why your Uncle Steve wanted a new quarterback was not hate for Matt Ryan. I don't play noodle arm games. I don't play crying ice, Ryan ice. I don't do all that stuff. You know what I play? I play Atlanta Falcons fan. And as an Atlanta Falcons fan, I see my quarterback not being able to do what he used to do. And when I see that, I want to change. I don't want to make it, he's trash. Does he disappoint me? Absolutely at times. But just to keeping it real, if I knew we were at least with these new guys coming in, bringing somebody else for the folks to have hope. Not so much for the fans to say we want so-and-so to bring them onto the field. But you need a splash of reality. And the splash of reality is Matt Ryan probably is not going to be the one leading this team into some miraculous resurrection. You see it on the field, y'all. You see it. It's not hard to figure out. It's not hard to look and see that Matt is not throwing the ball downfield. Yes, the Giants secondary was good, but come on, man. Got to take a couple of shots. He didn't take shots against Tampa. Yeah, he took one shot against Tampa. And that went in the air more than it went up more than it went down the field. So this is not personal shots, y'all. It's not. It's just, and Matt wants us to win. If any foolish person that sits out there and think Matt Ryan doesn't want us to win, stop with the nonsense. Of course he wants this franchise to win. Franchise has set him up for life. Of course he wants them to win. And for all those foolish people talking about Arthur Blank, it's not Arthur Blank's fault. How is it Arthur Blank's fault? Arthur Blank is guilty as I don't know what of being too loyal. That's his biggest flaw. We overpaid Matt when we shouldn't have. We overpaid Julio when we shouldn't have. Questionable about Deion Jones right now. Let's see how it plays out. He's loyal. And for people criticizing the Falcon for life thing, what are you supposed to say? Yeah, Matt, I want to sign you to this contract, but man, anything past 2 years, shoot, you on your own. How dumb is that? Yeah, Julio, you one of the greatest that ever played the game, but after 2 years, dog, we're gonna have to figure this out. Come on, y'all. What is he supposed to do? So when I see that just bothers me, y'all. It just bothers me. But again, it is what it is. Let's see. Let's go back up here. Is it what is this? I'm trying to see who this is. Is that you? Dre. Oh man, I'm trying to see who this is. I'm trying to get my names right. I apologize. That's you, Fred. What's going on, Fred? I saw your other thing. I'm still scratching my head at the hiring of Arthur Smith. He wasn't that great of an offense coordinator. Derrick Henry made him look good, dude. Nobody else wanted to come here, Fred. Eric Bieniemy, as much as he was lauded and wanted to get a job, do you actually think he wanted to come here with an aging Matt Ryan? No. Any other young quarterback, even the guy from San Francisco, Saylor, he didn't want to come over here with a Matt Ryan. Oh, they got to keep Matt Ryan? If I'm going to take over a job, unless I'm taking over for a quarterback that's in his prime, why do I want to come to a team with an aging quarterback? And at that time, I aging Julio Jones, too, even though he showed some Julio flashes 2 weeks ago, or last week, I should say. Nobody wants that situation. Arthur Smith and Terry Fontenot were probably guys that said, hey, I just need a job for my resume. And I know they probably didn't. I know they wanted the job. But it wasn't like people were coming to knock down the door to come to Atlanta this year. Same thing in Philadelphia. Think about Carson Wentz. You didn't see big names trying to go to Philadelphia this year. The only thing attractive about the Jets team is that you had the number 2 pick. And so you knew you would be at least able to get your own quarterback and start him and groom him and move him up and all of that. Jacksonville the same way. You knew you had the number 1 pick, your hand-picked Trevor Lawrence right there for you, and a salary cap with some room in the salary cap. This was a team with an aging quarterback, a payroll in the red that we still never shaved money off. We restructured money. We still didn't shave money off. The most expensive free agent we got this year was Mike Davis. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was 2 years, $5 million. That was the most expensive free agent we got, y'all. Arthur Smith was Arthur Smith could say, I'll pass or wait for the next person. Hamadi said he needs a shot of Viagra in his arm. Andre says, me too, Unc. I hate that Ryan Ice Crying Ice game either. It's stupid. Yeah, listen, social media sometimes is social media. And one of the things that I can appreciate, I really do appreciate, different people coming in and stuff. And I like different personalities and things like that. But look, man, sometimes when you look grown, I know we can all get kiddie at times. I'm from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock at a game. I'm a 10-year-old, but really from that time on, man, I don't do all that. I just don't do it. I just want to have fun with adults talking about football, and that's my goal. That's my goal. I don't get into the name calling and all that stuff. That's for back on the playground playing the Jones. Though I was pretty good at that too. He's an aging quarterback, and it's the way of the league to move younger, faster, stronger. And that's the thing. I think this is where you blame the sins of Dimitroff and signing those contracts that we truly can't get out. It was so funny because, Dimitroff was on NFL Network doing interviews, and he was like, yeah, those contracts are going to be pretty hard to get out of. And I was just sitting there and wanted to put my hand through the screen and just strangle him. It's like, yeah, because if anybody knows those contracts were hard to get out of, it'd be Thomas Dimitroff. Oh, man. He said his check downs, Fred said his check downs were extremely slow. Armani said he's just old. It happens to all of us, and it will happen to all of us. Trust me. I went out today my intention was to run, but I went out there to walk/jog 3 miles, and my knees tell me every time, along with the weight I have, tells me, yeah, you can't do this like you were 20. My mind tells me I could run 10 miles. My mind tells me run a marathon. But your body sometimes tell you different. I think Matt is one of the sharpest cats around. I'm just not sure if his body reacts like it used to. Everybody's not Tom Brady. Everybody's not. Even Aaron Rodgers, and I give Aaron Rodgers credit because he can still throw the ball all day. But Aaron, he moves a little bit, but his 6-7 years ago, Aaron Rodgers would average 40, 50 yards a game. Aaron doesn't move like he used to. That's evolution, man. That stuff happens. Fred says, give him a front office position, put him in the ring of honor, and let's move on to the future. I think I don't know about the front office position, but he'll definitely be in the ring of honor, most definitely. And he'll be our quarterback for 2021, folks. I know there are some people that seem to think it's lock, stock, and barrel that he'll be here in 2022. I say let's see. Maybe they'll find a team to trade him to. Fred says at least Ryan, even with his diminished skill, is loyal to the team, unlike Julio. Got to give the man points on that. Arlen says, well, do you think Arthur's play calling is limited due to him not having a mobile quarterback? Not talking about Lamar mobile, but Josh Allen mobile. He can't run any RPOs to put the quarterback on the move. See, one of the things too, Arlen, I changed my terminology to athletic quarterback because there is a difference. Yeah, I think the mobile quarterback moniker has been placed on folks, and it's kind of like a little bit of a stigma. I want my quarterback to be athletic. I want my quarterback to be Aaron Rodgers. I don't even think Josh Allen is a mobile quarterback. I think he's an athletic quarterback with the ability to gain yards, with the ability to do more. But I don't look at him as a mobile quarterback. The quarterbacks that are coming along in the league now, they have that extra dimension, that extra that the defense has to account for. Those are the things that when I start talking about Matt, bless his heart, that he doesn't have. They know if Matt is in that pocket, dude, it's a 1 in 30 chance he's going to run out. So those quarterbacks that have that athleticism to get out of the way, I keep remembering the preseason game when Felipe came out of that pocket and ran that ball for 50 yards. I say that's the worst thing that happened to this franchise at the moment, because everybody was saying, oh my God, we got somebody with a Falcons uniform that has the ball in his hands as quarterback and actually took off running. And remember those drives, which didn't end in touchdowns, but remember those drives, they moved us. And I even harkened back last night to Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones wasn't spectacular. He wasn't a mobile quarterback, but he was athletic enough on a couple of those plays when that pocket broke down on the sides, run up that field, get about 6-7 yards, slide down, move on to the next play. That's just the way the NFL is evolving now. That's why I keep mentioning it. It's not mentioning it to be a demerit for Matt. It's just telling you that's where we're going. That's where we're going right now. Amani says, according to Strap, we all sell outs anyway. I'm gonna have listen. I have nothing but respect for Strap, and I know Strap has his own thing that he goes for, and I'm not gonna sit here and cross streams with Strap. Me and Strap had a good time on the live with Tidy a few weeks ago, and I, it's just one of those things that I just don't agree with the philosophy. I get where Strap is coming from. Strap is a hardcore Atlanta Falcons fan who is loyal, blindly loyal, in my opinion, to even the faults of his quarterback. I tend to believe that if you are somebody who is a fan, I think it's fair to be able to say he's good, but dude, Tom Brady, he's good, but and there's nobody that you can't do a but for. Mahomes, Derrick Henry, Aaron Donald. Nobody. So that part I disagree, but Strap is fine with me. I got nothing but love for Strap. Strap is good on my end. Andre says, what I will say, that I'm not okay with losing, but there are some great things to take away from our team. In 2 years, we could have a top 10 defense. If Dean P stays around and we're able to build Andre on 2022's draft, and hopefully, maybe with them saying that the salary cap is supposed to move up some $20 million and able to shed some of this fat off some of these contracts and make the right moves, bring in a couple of free agents that you see. Yeah, we're not going to be a finished product probably until 2023. I'm not saying we can't win, but we're not going to be that finished product. See what happened in 2016, and if you guys really think about it, guys and girls, if y'all really think about it, 2016, we were super ahead of schedule. Dan Quinn did a decent job in 2015, bringing us from a 4-12 record to not 4-12. We were 6-10. Right, we were 6-10 that year because we had a chance to win the division. Forgot about that. 6-10. We were 4-12 the year before. 6-10 in 2014. So when Dan Quinn came, we still had a bit of some of the 2008 to 2012 team that we were trying to get off the books, including a bad contract signing with Steven Jackson, where we didn't really have any running backs because after Michael Turner, they tried to fit in. Steven Jackson thought that was going to work. In 2015, we brought in, we elevated Devonta, Tevin Coleman, we drafted, and we start doing things. We start rebuilding. And then by 2016, when we had the draft of Dion and Neil and don't forget Grady in 2015 too. Dion, Neil, Campbell, those guys that came in, they probably matured quicker than we thought. We should have been hitting our stride in 2017. But I think what happened was Kyle Shanahan's success, his success with that offense, probably threw the whole thing out of whack when he left. Because when he left, it was such a drastic turn from how we were doing things. I think people, realized it after he was gone. Kyle Shanahan, boy, oh boy, I wish he would have stuck around a little bit and we would have been fine. But I think we'll be fine in a couple of years, folks. I really do. Amani says, I'm a football fan. People get caught up in just being a fan for their team and home team. That's it. I love and respect the game enough to know it's okay to criticize your own team and not be classified as a sellout. Yeah, again, dude, I've been called. Listen. Especially when people blanket call people stuff, I never take that personally in things. I when Jay-Z say brush the dirt off your shoulder, when people want to do that, they want attention. I don't want that attention. I just whatever. I laugh at my other dude who does that all the time. He doesn't talk about people. He talks about the Falcons. What's the dude who makes the videos? Malcolm Walker. And I know sometimes he has some funny stuff sometimes, but then sometimes I also say, really, dude, are you really that upset all the time? Or are you just doing that to, which is fine, doing that to get some likes and stuff like that. That's fine by me. But at the same time, the sellout stuff, that's all whatever. Anyway, folks, I am getting ready to get out of here. I've probably been on here way too long. But look forward to next week. We will switch up this helmet right here and go into the Washington helmet starting tomorrow. And going into the week, we'll come in later on and talk about what we got to do for that awesome front seven that Washington has in store for us. Until then, y'all take care, man. We will catch y'all later on. Be good. Monday Night Football, Dallas versus Philadelphia coming up. I don't have a dog in the fight, but it's not going to hurt my feelings to see Philadelphia get beat after what they did to us. Y'all take care. God bless. Be good now.